So today we will see the methods of propagation. Okay. So in last session we have finished social, agroforestry, natural forest, and also agroforestry यहाँ का भी हमने finish किया है. So today we will see propagation of the forest plant. Why it is important to propagate the forest plant? Aryan, reforestation के लिए सागर, propagation क्यों करना है? Green cover, yes Ramu. Forest area, correct. Sustainable use, then quick growing. Propagation means is nothing but multiplication of its own kind, उसके जैसे. ठीक है. So propagation is of three type. What is? So majorly two types, sexual and asexual propagation. In sexual propagation, the multiplication is with the help of seeds. In asexual propagation, with the help of asexual part, that can be the leaf, root, stem, okay, or sometime with the help of micro propagation like tissue culture method. Okay, these are the basic thing we will see in the propagation of forest plants. This is a very simple chapter. Okay, so what is propagation? Definition: multiplication is the law of nature. Each and everyone want to multiply their own kind. If any creature on the surface of earth is not multiplying their offspring, what will happen? That will get extinct from the surface of earth. We humans are producing our children, plants are producing the new plants, birds are producing young birds, animals are producing young animals. That's why they are existed on the surface of earth. If there is no propagation, there will be extinction, है ना? So it is a multiplication is a law of nature. Each and every living thing has to follow this. Everyone which come on this universe produces individual of its own kind. However, man has developed several techniques of multiplication of plant for his own benefit. Okay, which benefit we have found? Easiest methods. Some plants can be easily multiplied with the help of stem. Some plants can easily multiply with the help of seed. Let's say in case of sugarcane, multiplication with the help of stem is easy than the seed. Correct. And in case of let's say jawar, it's very easy to multiply with the help of seed than the stem, है ना? So depend upon that. So we have find the easiest way for our own benefits. Propagation of the plant, several principles are involved. In this chapter देखो we will attempt to identify, है ना, two method, that is principles of the seed or sexual reproduction or the vegetative asexual. Okay, in addition we will also have some light on the which method, that is called as micro propagation. It is also called as tissue culture और artificial regeneration भी कहते हैं हम इसी को. So why we are doing this propagation? For two purpose. What are major aims? Either for afforestation or either for reforestation. What is different between afforestation and reforestation, Shruti? New lawn, yes, correct. Where there was previously there was forest was existed, we humans cutted it down and we are once again making that land as a regrowing. Okay, so afforestation is what? Establishing forest by artificial means on a land which non-forest vegetation existed for a long time in the past, like 400-500 years से पहले वहाँ पे कोई forest नहीं था. That land can be recognized as a farmland. Okay, in such condition. But reforestation, this land is already recognized as a forest land, but in practically there is no tree. In such forest land, if there is a no tree, we are growing the trees. It is called as reforestation, which we have already cutted. तो नेक्स्ट देखो यहाँ पे क्या हुआ इसको? Essential or preliminary consideration for propagation of the forest plant. ठीक है, before that we will find some characteristic, है ना, suitable tree species for the non conventional forestry. What do you mean by non conventional forestry and what is the conventional forestry? Can you tell me types of non conventional forestry? Agroforestry, social forestry, plantation forestry, then Tanga system, shifting, plantation. All these are the types of non-conventional. What is conventional? Natural forest are the conventional, like tropical, deciduous, mountain forest, mangrove forest, temperate forest. ये पूरे. So if you want to select any plant for the non-conventional forestry, what should be the basic characters? Okay, without seeing this, आप मुझे बताओ कौन से कैरेक्टर होने चाहिए सागर, अगर आप कोई प्लांट लगाते हो what type of character you will find? दो कैरेक्टर बताओ मुझे. It should be very speedy growth. Another, long life होनी चाहिए. Yes. Another, आर्यन कौन सा प्लांट आप सिलेक्ट करोगे? हाँ, ड्रॉट में सस्टेन करे, लेस वाटर. एंड अनदर कैरेक्टर, means it should be a tolerant to the heavy wind cyclone. Yes, Ramu. If you want to do non-conventional forestry, which two character you will see in that plant? Let's say if you want to plant one tree in your garden at your home, so which plant you will select? What type of character you will find? It should be resistant for pest and disease. And another character, it should be a climate tolerant. Yes, Chinmay. Genetically superior in what sense? What type? ज्यादा नहीं, ऐसा कॉमन मैन की लैंग्वेज में बताओ. What type of quality? Yes, fruit means it should be a fruit giving. Another, it should not fight with our animal. Or what? Means there should not be any over exploitation of water. Yes, Shruti. Very good. Number of benefits should be more, है ना. First, that plant should be local, है ना. इस local climate को उसने अडॉप्ट करना चाहिए. You people have enlisted all the things. Now we will see what are that things. अब हम देखेंगे कि वो actually क्या है. What are the basic character? First, leaves all year long. Okay, sometimes it should be evergreen. If you are selecting your garden, if it is shedding leaves for 4 months, so it will not look like good. It should be evergreen. Then wind firmness, है ना, already आपने बता दिया है. Wind firmness means what? It should not get collapse because of cyclone. Okay. Then deep root system which does not spread into the nearby field, है ना. ज्यादा नहीं होनी चाहिए, deep होनी चाहिए. It should not be a horizontal, vertically deep, not a horizontally. Then good crown formation. It should not be straight forward. There should be a good crown, so it will provide shelter, shading, है ना. Resistant to the drought. No frequent water application required. Rapid growth. So you can easily harvest either timber, fruit, whatever it may be. Correct. So some primary considerations are there for the propagation of forest plant. First, choice of a species, है ना. First thing, uh, doing before doing forestation or planting the forest plant, what is the major important thing in front of us? Choice of species. Choice should be right one. Okay. So choice of species. So which type of species we will give choice? कौन सी रहेगी? We have already seen the characteristics, है ना. So choice of species is very important in artificial regeneration. Therefore, before choosing the tree species, purpose of growing the tree has to be specified. What is your purpose? You want to plant the trees for the food purpose, you want it for the shelter purpose, you want it for the timber purpose, fuel purpose, fencing purpose, windbreak purpose. Your purpose should be specified. Without any purpose you should not plant, so purpose should be defined. Then climate and micro, let's say I want to grow tree as a avenue tree. Avenue tree means this is a highway and my office is also 500 meters from that. I have to grow tree on the both sides, so which type of tree I will select? Evergreen or the deciduous? Evergreen, so it should be look good, है ना? So if I want to, there is a heavy wind, I am a coastal farmer, there is a continuous damage of crop because of wind, so I will, which type of tree I will do? Which will act as a good windbreak. I have some farm animals, okay, during summer time it's very difficult to place them before a teen. So what will happen? I will say प्लांट फॉरेज वाला है ना, सेड वाला ट्री लगाओ, डिपेंड अपॉन दैट, है ना. So climate and the microclimate, the choice of a species depend upon the prevailing climate and the microclimatic condition. Means your tree should be adapted to the local overall climate and microclimate. If your tree is asking for the air condition, then what is used? Means don't grow temperate crop in a tropical region, tropical in a temperate region, है ना. South Indian trees are very adapted to the South Indian climate, North Indian trees are adapted to the North Indian climate, like that. ठीक है. So soil requirements, mostly wet soil. If your soil is continuously wet, so which species you should go? Salic species, है ना, poplar species, they are adapted to the wet soil. If water logging is there continuously, in such condition, Eucalyptus robusta and Eucalyptus saligna. You know Eucalyptus Nilgiri plant. It is called as Eucalyptus. Why it is adapted to the water logging situation? Deep roots and high transpiration rate. You know, this is reason. Very good. Then sandy loam. Then Albizia, Procera and Acacia, Nilotica, Dalbergia, Sishu. They are well adapted to the sandy loam soils. Okay. So depend upon the soil, you can choose the plant. Let's say if your soil is a waterlogged, if you are growing the Dalbergia Sishu, it will not work. The tree may not be long lasting there. So you have to adopt the trees or the plant the species which are adapted to the soil condition, climatic condition and your purpose. What is the third consideration? Growth rate. Fast growing tree species like Acacia nilotica, है ना, then Lacuena, Lacophylla, Subabul, then Melia, है ना, then ये आपका कौन सा, ये Poplus है, Salix है. It means that if you want to grow tree for the just like early harvesting or the fuel purpose, so you cannot wait for 10 years, you just want fuel within the 6-7 months, 1 year. So in such condition you will select the trees which are having fast growth. Next देखो, availability of exotic. In simple, it meaning that pertains to not native to the area of question or the area of site selection. Exotic can be described as an organism, okay, in an area which is not native for that area, but it is the origin of some other region. For example, eucalyptus species, then ये आपका Lacuana, Lacocephala, है ना, then Robinia, Pseudocacia, Populus, deltoides, ये पूरे exotic है. If there are any exotic species available and which is well adapted to the local climate, so you can choose it. Like a Eucalyptus Nilgiri, it is not a Indian, but it is well adapted to the Indian climate. We can go it. ठीक है. Site selection. Site is the complex physical and the biological factor area that determine the forest or the other vegetation. Site selection means when you are doing plantation, don't do plantation in any other farmer's land. Either that land should be your own or government land, or you should take the permission. ऐसा नहीं कहीं पे भी जाके plant लगा दो, है ना. Then succession. Succession is the gradual replacement of one community to another in a development of vegetation toward the climate. You just have to succession related factor, cost of growing. It is also important factor affecting the choice of species. Let's say if you want to do plant XYZ tree, okay, because you was on the tourism and you like that the flowers are very beautiful of this XYZ tree, and you are thinking I will plant here 10,000 plants, but if one plant costing 1 lakh rupees, it is possible? Means cost is also important. Then availability of the seed propagation material. Seed source should be a sound. Most of them vegetative source are costly as compared to the seed source. Means seed should be available very easily. You know that I think in 2012 I went somewhere. Uh, I think Pune ki nearby. I was there in nearby Pune, and you know lotus plant was for the sale there. They was telling that 3,000 rupees for a single lotus plant live. They was giving you. They were just like doing packaging and giving us 3,000 rupees. Okay. So at that time, I didn't have that much money, or I didn't thought that it is a worthy that giving 3,000 rupees and purchasing. But it was the true lotus plant. After some time, uh, 1.5 year after that, I was just like going through local market, and there was one jadi booty shop, you know, Ayurveda. Okay, and in that Ayurveda shop, I have read that lotus seeds. Okay, and I just asked them what is the cost of this lotus seed. He was telling that 100 seed for 50 rupees. I told that literally, they were, yes, 100 seeds for 50 rupees. I just purchased the 100 seeds of 50 rupees and just uh, sown in the that local little bit, uh, like wet soil, and literally it was sprouted. I thought that अब graduation छोड़ के let's do this business. It means that कि depend upon availability. You should know the exact thing. Actually, the person who was selling that seed, he don't know what is the price of this. Someone has given him, and even though he was not sure that it is the lotus seed or what, he just sold me. Okay, and he may not be the owner, or he might be the that in charge, whatever it may be. I don't know from where he has isolated, but he might be purchased in bulky manner from the northern India. Okay, that is the thing. So such thing might be happen. So mostly what happen, availability of seed propagation material is important while doing the forestation. So site selection of site also crucial factor. Regeneration है ना, several factors affecting देखो site selection में. Physical factors है ना, topography. If the topography is undulating, don't select tall trees, otherwise what will happen, that will get fall down. If your topography is a plain, then you can select the tall trees. In case of undulating land, trees are mostly bushy type or less heighted. ठीक है. Exposure of sunlight. Let's say what happened, this is a mountain and this is the east side. Okay, in east side vegetation will be of different type, on the west side vegetation will be of different type. Why? Exposure of sunlight. Okay, so soil type, some है ना, we have already seen wet soil, dry soil, acid soil, on that basis. Then erosion hazard, if your soil is very highly erosive, you have to select the plants which are having very dense root system, so that can hold the soil. Okay, if you are selecting a plain land, so root should not spread throughout the farm. What will happen otherwise, that will create disturbance to agricultural operations. You might find that if you are from agriculture background, while farmer is doing intercultural operations, what happen, if this is a tree on the bund, if trees are spread all over the farm, what will happen, while doing harrowing, tillaging, these roots are getting stuck into the agriculture equipment, and that is causing the wearing and tearing of agriculture equipment and tractors problematic. So in such plain land, roots should be deep, not horizontal. Okay, but in case of this erosion hazardous wale soil mein, it should be a sprayable, so that should hold more soil, and it should be a surface wala fibrous root system hona chahiye mostly. Size of treatment of area, access means whether you have to do that tree plantation near to the road or not, or any in hinterland, depend upon that. Okay. So preparation requirements: create suitable environment for establishment of desirable species. Create suitable means you cannot change the climate, but what type of environment means land preparation, other things. Okay. Manpower and equipment, site selection and preparation method require good skill and useful equipments are required. External constraint, legal responsibilities, it means that you cannot plant tree anywhere, you have to take permission. Even though you are planting the trees voluntarily on the roadside or somewhere else, you have to at least inform the department, road department, forest department. You are just like planting tree anywhere, there might be some objections. Okay, like that. So smoke management guidelines, you know, one farmer I know that there is a one land in Tahsil place. I know that person. This is the his own land, and this whole land is a what, the government land. So what he has done, he was very smart person. He has planted people trees around 50 meters away from this place and acquire all this land. Not government can now cut these trees, and he is increasing his border. At that time, the road was supposed to grow from this place. Now road is from this place. This land is illegally acquired. He didn't take any permission. He directly planted the banyan trees, people trees. It is not possible to now cut down. And when road is coming to this farmer side, he is asking 50 crore rupees for the land compensation. So government telling that we will take road from this side instead of that. So this is what this type of thing happen. So tree plantation is not a like normal thing. You just have to take permission. है ना? Smoke management guideline, proximity of sensitive areas, है ना? The altitude of adjacent farmers, landowners. Sometimes if you are planting trees and if that shade is affecting the his overall crop, so you should not plant such trees. Depend upon that. ठीक है? Spatial arrangement. There is also called as spacing. Spacing is also depend upon species to species. Space is not same for all the plant. Sometimes it is a narrow in between two plant, sometimes it is a wide. For nilgiri it is a very narrow, but for mango tree it is a wide. For banyan tree it is a wide, because that tree is having good potential of spreading horizontally. ठीक है. Choice of method, either sowing is the first method, another method is the planting. Sowing means directly sowing the seeds in the land. Planting means taking plant land from the nursery and then sowing it. Okay, these are the methods. Sowing is the simplest word, process of scattering seed in a particular place, nursery bed, field, etc. Advantage क्या है बेटा sowing का? Cheapest method and the cost is less. Sowing is a direct method and no other complications. It takes less time and thus work is completed soon easily. In sowing method, there is a no question of disturbance of root. But if you are taking plantlets from the nursery, so at the time of planting, there can be disturbance to the root. Here no disturbance. Why? Because we are sowing the seeds. ठीक है. Sometimes sowing is done directly in the field, in the forest, है ना? Hence does not require any nursery. The sowing being simple method is supposed to be a less cumbersome, not that much difficult. Okay, another method of the planting the forest is the planting method. And planting is another method of artificial regeneration. However, planting is described as a transferring nursery stock to the planting site. Normal, you know, black color packets are there. You have to transfer from one place to another. What is the major difference between the sowing and planting? Cost of planting is high as compared to seeds. Okay. So what are advantages? More success by first. If you are placing the seed, there might be less germination, but here plants are already established, so no problem of germination. We are only placing the viable plants, healthy plants, then less seeds are needed. Let's say this is your overall forest area and there are around 1000 spots here. Okay, like 1 2 3 4, how much? 1000. For 1000 spot, how much seed you have to place? 1000. But what happens? Sometime all 1000 seed will not get germinated. Let's say 900 will germinate and remaining 100 will be a blank. So but in case of planting seed, less seed needed. Why? Because already planted here for 1000 successful, you have to at least plant 1500, because moisture, other conditions, sometimes what happen, birds are eating the seeds. Okay, some seeds might get deteriorated sir, there can be establishment problem भी हो सकता है इसका. ठीक है, no damage. ठीक है, cheaper weeding. What happen in case of all these seeds small, when the plants are very small, you have to do weeding everywhere and help to your major crop. But what happen in case of planting, you are only placing your established plant, so that will already suppress the weed, because it is might be 1 year old, 6 year old, 6 month old. Okay, like that. What are the disadvantage of planting? Need nursery. Nursery means money, management, everything will be there. Another thing, disturbance to the roots at the time of planting. Time consuming process. First establish nursery, then transfer the plant from nursery to the plantation site. Okay, like that. Need of skilled labor, है ना, incurring high cost. Let's say seed can be of 1 rupees per seed, है ना, but plant will be at least 20 rupees. So that's why it is a high cost. Then advantage of artificial regeneration overall, control plant density. In case of natural forest, can we do the can we control the plant density? No, but here we can mark the area and then plant the trees. Okay. Then predictable seedling production means you can predict that. Let's say this is the area, and if you want to plant the trees in between, like space is 10 feet in between two, 10 by 10. Okay. From that you can easily predict how much plants are required. But in case of random broadcasting, can we predict it? No. You know, then high flexibility, you can plant as per your convenience. ठीक है. Low management intensity, then option of introducing improved seeds or the plant material. But in natural there is a no chance of एडवांस इंप्रूवमेंट के लिए कोई चांस नहीं है. देन चेंजिंग द स्पेसीज एंड varieties possible in a artificial regeneration, but in natural regeneration such things are not available. Nature will decide which plant will get survived. What are the disadvantages? Labor intensive, temporarily disturbed the root development, less adapted to the microsite, cost intensive. ठीक है. नेक्स्ट देखो, propagation of forest plant. So in propagation of forest plant we have already seen that there are 3 types. What are that? Or majorly 2, sexual and asexual. So propagation of forest plant में हमने कहा 2 है. Out of that micro propagation is advanced one. So detail में देखेंगे हम method अब ये. Sexual propagation. Sexual propagation means rising plant by means of seeds. Why it is called as sexual propagation? At the time of development of the seed, there is a fusion of male and female gamete, fertilization, zygote formation, and then seed formation. But in case of asexual reproduction, there is no such thing. We are producing plant with the help of either leaves, root, stems, okay, and other vegetative parts. Correct. So which is formed by the fusion of male and female. That's why it is called as sexual. Or like flower में male and female gametes होते हैं. Plants that are produced from the seeds are called as seedlings. But plants which are produced from the that like stems, they are called as ramate or the clones. Okay, they are the rametes or clones. But the plants which are produced from the seed are called as seedlings. Means nursery plant, if they are from the root stock, they may called as a clones because they are exactly like their parent. Seeds may or may not be exactly like their parent because of recombination. We have seen in the second paper. Okay. In ancient time, when the asexual method of plant propagation was not known, only commercial method was the plant propagation. Papaya, falsa, mangosteen are still being propagated by seeds. So propagation by seeds mostly. So now we will see this method in detail. What happened in the forest plant? Propagation by seed is primarily done. Why they are doing propagation by the seeds? Because of what is the reason? It is a cheap easy method है ना, primarily done to rise the root stock required for the producing grafted or the budded plants. फॉरेस्ट में क्या करता है, सीड से क्यों करते हैं? Mostly even though seeds are required in the sexual and asexual both. How? Either direct generation of plant or that plant which is generated with the help of seed can be used as a root stock. Like in case of mango, desi mangoes are used as a root stock for the alfonso and other things, है ना, mostly. So however, some fruit plants conventionally propagated by the seeds, means this seed is primarily used for both purposes, either development of whole tree or as a root stock, है ना. Seeds and the spore can be used in reproduction. For example, sowing. Seeds are typically produced from sexual reproduction within a species because of genetic recombination has been occurred. So plant grown from the seed may have different characteristic from their parent because of recombination. So recombination happens in a which cell cycle, Ramu? Mitosis or meiosis? Meiosis. Which stage? Yes, Sagar. Pachati stage of prophase or metaphase? Prophase. Correct. Pachati stage है ना, क्रॉसिंग ओवर. गुड. आपको मैसेज आया कल के टेस्ट का? You can give either any one of the test, like 1 or unit number 13 or unit number 1. Try to give unit number 1 test. If time permits, दोनों भी कल ही दे दो, ठीक है, अगर हो जाती है तो ठीक है. और you just take paper and submit me the test letter. ठीक है. Those candidates who are seeing online, your question papers of unit 1 and unit 13 are available. 13 for the old batch student, 1 for the new batch student. Even the old batch student miss this test, they can come and give the unit number 1 test. ठीक है. Some species produce seed that require special conditions. Okay, germination such as cold treatment चाहिए. We have seen that. So some plant species, including the many trees, do not produce seed until they reach maturity. So in such condition, what is the other option? Vegetative propagation. Correct. So which may take years. So seed can be difficult to acquire, and some plants do not produce seed at all. Seed आती नहीं. Can you tell me name of some plants which are not producing the seeds? Banana. In wild condition, it is producing seed. Pineapple. Yes. Then मुझे प्लांट का नाम बताओ. आर्यन. सारे प्लांट सीड प्रोड्यूस करते हैं. मनी प्लांट करता है क्या? नहीं करता. क्यों नहीं करता? पैसे देता है. There are some plants which are not producing viable seeds, है ना. गिलोय भी नहीं करता. मोस्टली स्टेम से होता है. स्टेम से होता है. ओके. मोस्टली मीन करते ही नहीं है. So some plant modify using the genetic use restriction technology, है ना, like your biotechnology, not fertile seed. GM crop से बनाते हैं हम tissue culture. In certain cases, this is done to prevent accidental spreading of plant. Example like birds, है ना, other animals के लिए हम mostly कर देते हैं. ठीक है. So advantages of sexual propagation क्या है बेटा? The plant which are produced with the help of seed are long lasting. Okay, if you are producing a plant or growing the plant with the help of either grafting or a sexual reproduction, their life is not that much, है ना. Like a mango, if you are producing the modern varieties, nursery varieties, they will be not more than 20 years. But the desi mango can be there for 100 year or whatever it may be, more than 60, 70, 80 years it can be there. ठीक है, देसी मैंगो. So seedling trees are generally long lived, bear more heavily and are comparatively hardier. ठीक है. This is only mean of reproduction where the sexual propagation is not possible or economical. जहाँ पे asexual नहीं है, in such condition we are doing sexual. ठीक है. It has been responsible for production of chance of seedling superior to the attributes. In case of sexual reproduction, accidentally you may get very sweet mango, but if you are doing asexual means mango will be same as like their parents. यहाँ पे chances है कुछ. ठीक है. Polyembryonic character is possible. What do you mean by polyembryonic? I have told you. You have seen when you are sowing the mango tree, sometime from a single seed you will find 2 or 3 plant, and you are getting confusion that these are the branches, but that are not branches. That is because of single seed are having 2 to 3 embryos. It is called as polyembryony. Same condition also found in which plant? मैंगो तो मैंने बताया बेटा, citrus है ना, lemon, citrus. Okay, in case of lemon, at a time there can be 2 3 plant from a single seed. Another example, जामुन पता है आपको, पर्पल कलर का. In that also 2 to 3 embryos are there in a single seed. Okay, so polyembryony like character is possible in case of only sexual reproduction. Such advantage cannot be taken in a asexual reproduction. This is what है ना, nucellar seedling fruit type होते हैं. Root stock upon which the fruit varieties are budded or grafted are mostly raised from the seed. Seed का major use क्या होता है, root stock बनाने में for any plant है ना. Seedlings are cheaper and easy to rise. Then seed can be easily transported to the distant places. It is very difficult to transport seed from one place to another place, one country to another country. Plant possible नहीं होता, but seed can be easily packaged and sent for the longer distance, you know. So do not require high technical knowledge and skilled labor if you want to do sexual reproduction. But if you want to do grafting, budding, there should be a technical person who is knowing how to do it. Otherwise, there can be the failures. So, what are the limitations of sexual propagation? Seedling trees are not uniform in their growth, yield capacity, and fruit quality. Each and every plant will be having different yield, different food quality, different age, height, growth rate will be different. But in case of plantation crop, same, correct. So seedling trees have long juvenile period and take more years to bear the first crop, correct. Seedling become larger for economical management. Then it is not possible to maintain extra character of any superior selection है ना mostly. So seed propagation can't be applied in many plant like banana. Should be possible है banana में seed नहीं है. In wild case it is there, but mostly possible नहीं होता. It is not possible to avail modifying the influence of the rootstock on the scion on the rootstock. ठीक है. Since seed-borne viruses are also there. Sometime what happen? Some seed-borne pathogen diseases are there. So if you are producing with the help of seed, there can be a disease attack. Okay, that's why these are some limitations of seed propagation. But this is the one of the oldest method, cheapest method. Okay, less skills are required. Then what is another method of propagation of forest plant? That is the asexual method. Propagation of plant through any vegetative part, it is called as vegetative or asexual propagation. The goal of vegetative propagation is to reproduce progeny plant identical to genotype of a single source of a plant. From one plant you are developing so many plants, at least 10 20, depends upon the branches, birds, and if you are using the tissue culture, then thousands of plant can be easily developed with the help of tissue culture. ठीक है. What are the advantages of asexual propagation? Vegetatively propagated root plants are true to type, uniform in growth, yielding capacity and fruit quality. What do you mean by true to type? Exactly like their parents. ठीक है. Vegetatively propagated fruit plant come into bearing earlier. If you are vegetatively using vegetatively propagated plants of mango, you can easily get mango within 3 or 5 years. But if you are sowing the seed, it will take 7-8 years. ज़्यादा time लगेगा, ठीक है. Then vegetatively propagated fruit plants come into bearing earlier हो गया. Uniform fruit quality makes harvesting and marketing easily. But in case of your local mango orchard, what will happen? This plant will give mango today, that will give after 7 days, this will give in between, one will give regularly two mangoes. It is possible to market such condition? No. But vegetatively propagated forest plant, mango plant, they are, it is very easy to harvest and market at a time. ठीक है. Modifying influence of the rootstock on the scion can be profitably availed of. Sometimes rootstock giving some modifying effect. Okay, on the scion. So here is the, we are combining rootstock and scion. What do you mean by scion? Aryan? नहीं पता. देखो, this is a local variety seed. What you are doing then? This is the plant having the local plant. So you are cutting from this place. इसको हम यहाँ से कट करते हैं ये प्लांट को. What you are doing? We are making one clipped here and then planting another branch from the another plant here. What will happen? We are combining two. So this is called at rootstock. This is the scion. Got it? Scion means the modified or the advanced variety we are putting on the rootstock or the local. ठीक है, ये वाला. So it is possible to regulate the tree size, fruit quality, precocity, है ना. fruit bearing हम यहाँ पे manage कर सकते हैं according to one's requirement using the different rootstock. So cross pollination can be affected by grafting shoots of other suitable varieties, pollinizers on the same branch for the self unfruitful variety. What it means? Sometime what will happen? You know, Alfonso आप जानते हो? Alfonso is a variety of mango. But what is the major problem with Alfonso? It is not producing sufficient amount of pollen. Alfonso do not produce sufficient amount of pollen for fertilization. So what is requirement of this Alfonso? It required pollen from outside of any another variety. So in Konkan, there is a local mango known as rival. These rivals are the desi local mangoes. They are giving pollen to Alfonso, and Alfonso is producing the sweet and bigger size of mango. Okay. So if rival plants are not in nearby, what will happen? There will be a low fruit bearing. Bearing नहीं होगी. So with the help of asexual propagation, what we can do? In a rival plant itself, we can also insert one. Sorry, Alfonso में एक branch हम क्या कर सकते हैं? Rival plant की लगा देंगे. One branch will be inserted. Single plant, Alfonso and rival. So it will get pollens from same plant. It possible है. Just read once. Cross pollination can be affected by grafting shoot of other suitable variety, pollinizer. In this case, pollinizer is a rival local variety. ठीक है? On some branches of the self unfruitful variety like Alfonso. ठीक है? Grafting can be used to encourage the healing of the trees wounds caused by rodents, implements. Sometimes what happen? Let's say Chinmay is learning tractor first time and running the tractor in the farm and directly striking on the mango tree. So in such condition, what happen? There can be damage to the mango tree. So in such condition, if his father is coming to say my son has damaged the mango tree, he may scold on him. So what he will do? He will find another plant, take his branch, doing grafting and doing plastering. Papa, I have done the grafting here today. I have learned new technique of doing grafting. Such mistakes can be corrected. Sometimes some rodents can damage the, so in such damage situation you can do grafting and correct that mistake. Sometime what happen, newly married couple, they are going in the garden and their wife is seeing very beautiful plant, and only just like plant is looking beautiful, they are taking that mango plant to the home, planting in their garden, and after 10 years what happened, that mango is plant is giving small and bitter mangoes. Okay, so in such condition how to correct this mistake, batao? You can, it's very difficult to remove that plant because that plant was very cute 10 years back, but now it is not looking cute, it is giving very bitter mangoes. So in such condition only grafting is the method. You can implant graft from good plant varieties and correct the mistake which has been done before 10 years. Okay, so that's why before selecting plant, call Krushna sir. Don't see the how it is looking. Whether you, if you are unable to identify plant, then send me the photos, I will tell you what which is this variety. Okay, so one can correct some extent initial mistakes of planting inferior or unsuitable varieties. Initial mistake means sometime by mistakenly, sometime frauds are happening with the farmer. Some sellers are telling that this is the Alfonso, please plant it, it will have good mango. But after 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, there is no mango. Such condition you can avoid or correct your mistakes already happen. Okay. So fruit plant producing the seedless fruit such as banana can only be multiplied through the vegetative. Okay. What are the limitations of asexual propagation? No new variety can be evolved because of no pollination, no crossing over. All the progenies are the progenies of existing variety. Okay. It is more expensive than the raising the new plant through seeds. Require that like skill labor, time, okay, particular amount of climate. Vegetatively propagated plants are comparatively short-lived. Vegetative propagation in the forest trees, mostly they're exactly like what we have seen previously, उसी type से होते देखो, mostly seen as a bulk or of small amount of rare valuable material होता है. Since vegetatively propagation is done from the well differentiated vegetative parts, propagules maintain physiological conditions, है ना, parts, genetic consistence of the tree. It is possible to capture and transfer all genetic potential through use of vegetative propagation, है ना, one to new tree. How? By doing grafting, okay, budding. Up you can make the plants if there is a no viable seed production. Vegetative propagation has been widely used in establishment of clonal seed orchard and clonal bank. You can make the clones. Exceptional hybrid, sterile hybrid, selected plant can be propagated vegetatively. Sometimes hybrids are there, but they are sterile. Sterile means they are not producing viable seed. The current plant is okay, it is giving good fruits, but it doesn't produce viable seed. So if you want to sow many plant from this plant, what is the method? Vegetative propagation. Okay. Original tree from the plants are propagated taken as a known as sorry orchid बोलते हैं, ठीक है, and each plant propagated from the orchid is called as ramate. In forest propagation, let's say this is the original plant, but do not produce any viable seeds, or there is a very less amount of seed. So this plant is called as orchid. And from this one plant, we are taking 100 branches and developing 100 trees, small, small. These trees are called as ramate. It is called as ramate. And trees produced with the help of seeds are called as seedlings. Okay, and trees produced with the help of tissue culture are called as clones. At the cell level, they are the clones, है ना. So each plant propagated from the orchid is the ramate. A set of ramate from the same orchid is called as clone. This is single plant is a orchid, this single is a ramate, and all together are called as clones. Clone is never one. Clone means at least टू तो होने चाहिए वहां पे. So differences observed between the tree propagated by the same method are called as clonal variation. Even though that 100 plants are little bit different, that is variation is called as clonal variation कहेंगे हम इसको. So method of vegetative propagation can be broadly classified as a macro propagation and micro propagation. So what are the techniques involved in the macro propagation? The parts which can be easily seen by naked eyes, or the macro parts are used for propagation, like your cutting, grafting, layering, budding are the types of macro propagation. Micro means at the which level? Tissue level, cell level. है ना? Latest in the vegetative propagation, there is a micro propagation through tissue culture technique. हाँ, so methods of vegetative propagation में देखेंगे बेटा, cutting is the first method. You can take 1 minute break, then we will start the methods of propagation in detail. Grafting, scion can be the older. Sorry, rootstock can be older. Scion should be 1 year old, or the fresh growth, last year's growth, 1 year old. ये ग्राफ्टिंग में ऑलरेडी ब्रांच को करते हैं, आप इसकी बात कर रहे हो. बडिंग में सेम होगा पेंसिल साइज का. ग्राफ्टिंग इज अ ओल्ड ट्री. यहाँ पे हम पैच साइड ग्राफ्टिंग करते हैं. देखो साइड ग्राफ्टिंग साइडली. आप लोग थोड़ा आंसर लिखते जाओ ग्रुप में, बाकी लोग लिखते हैं. श्रुति, आंसर लिखने से क्या होता है? नॉलेज स्प्रेड हो जाएगा. बोलना बहुत ज्यादा अच्छा नॉलेज अपने पास. लिखना डेली एक दो लिखते रखो, बेनिफिट होता है ना. सब वन ऑनलाइन बैचेस देयर, दे आर राइटिंग डेली आंसर्स. You peoples are the kings. You will directly see in the exam. Okay, you can write and send me. Let's see. Cutting. What happened? Cutting is a very simple method. There is no grafting required. There is no budding required. In cutting, what happened? You are just cutting the branches and planting. है ना? Young branches of 1 year old. ठीक है? So cutting from the earliest and easiest method of vegetative propagation. Okay, these are the sections taken from the trees, put on the root appropriate medium. है ना? Mostly which growth regulator is used for the rooting? Auxin is used. है ना? You are dipping in the auxin and then putting it. So cutting a method of propagation of cost effective compared to the other vegetative methods, and they result in good plant type. However, they need rooting. है ना? Multiplication rate of cutting are the low. Need large area of donor plant hedge and aging problem complicated of the clone testing. ये वाला major problem क्या है इसका? देखो, let's say this is the tree. Okay, and we have to take young branches from this tree. So how many branches you can take from per plant, Sagar? 20, 25. If you are taking all branches, then that old plant will get killed down. Okay, and what is the problem? Young branches should be there. It should not be old one. So this is the major limitation, but it is the easiest method, cheapest method. है ना? Need large area of donor plant hedges. There you can like 10 branches from per plant, so there should be hundreds of branches. ठीक है? This is what. So there, if aging problem, sometime if this plant is old, very old, in such condition there cannot be a good success ratio. ठीक है? Mostly. So some tree species such as the poplars, willow are very easy to propagate stem cutting. Willow is used for what purpose? Bat, है ना? Sports good mostly. Then stem cutting. स्टेम का मतलब यहाँ पे देखो ये उसी का टाइप है ना? कटिंग्स का. वेरी फ्यू स्पेसीज रिस्पॉन्स वेल दिस मेथड. है ना? स्पेसीज रूट्स आर सुटेबल फॉर दिस मेथड ऑफ प्लांटिंग. पर्टिकुलरली स्पेसीज ऑफ डाइकोटिलेडोनस ग्रुप हैविंग द एक्टिव कैम्बियम आर यूज्ड. सीसम, निम्बारा, ड्रमस्टिक, मलबेरी. ठीक है? इग्ना, डलसिस, देन धामन, पांगरा, पीपल, banyan tree. These are the plants where the stem cutting is used. Cutting is a broad method, but type is a stem cutting. Okay, where you can cut the stem and grow. Depending upon the maturity, stem cutting can be grouped into the hardwood cutting. Hardwood cutting happen in which plant? Mature woody branches use होते हैं यहाँ पे. Softwood cutting, recently mature branches use. Example ये है ना ऊपर वाली stem को, ये hardwood होती है यहाँ पे. सॉफ्टवुड देखो मोस्टली मलबेरी. Root cutting mostly used in which plant? Sandalwood and pangra. You can easily propagate. Then stump. Stumps are nothing but these are the straight branches which are grown on the base. Like this, let's say this is the old tree. Okay, you have cut above 1 meter from the ground, so there will be new growth from this. So what you are doing? These things are cutted down having the same size. यहाँ से हम cut करते हैं. These are called as stumps. ठीक है, मीन्स दे आर लुक लाइक योर क्रिकेट स्टम्प्स मोस्टली. सेम गर्थ होती है उसकी. इट इज अ पार्ट ऑफ जस्ट लाइक योर स्टेम कटिंग, डिफरेंट नेम इज गिवन, है ना. फ्यू स्पेसीज स्टम्प्स आर यूज्ड फॉर प्लांटिंग. एग्जांपल टीक, शिवन, सिसम, कैसिया स्पेसीज. स्टम्प्स आर इजी टू transport, है ना, require less space and can be transported to longer distance because they are of same size, straight. Okay, so you can easily store them and transport with the proper climate में. ड्राई करके नहीं बेटा ट्रांसपोर्ट करने, तो क्या होगा, लकड़ी हो जाएगी उसकी. इट विल बिकम अ वुड. ठीक है. देन लेयरिंग. लेयरिंग इज व्हाट, you know, let's say this is the main tree of your pomegranate. Pomegranate, you know it. Anar is called as, or pomegranate is called as anar. Means at this point we are removing the bark of this branch. Okay, after removing bark, what we are applying here? Sphagnum moss. Okay, sphagnum moss is of green color. Sphagnum moss होता है. After applying sphagnum moss, what we are doing? We are packing it with the help of transparent plastic. Why transparent plastic? There will be a light also, and you can easily see whether there is a rooting or not. Mostly around within 3 weeks or 4 weeks there will be the roots. So what will happen? We will cut at this point also and at this point also, and then place in a polythene bag or any pot. In which direction? ये डायरेक्शन ऐसे कर देंगे, इस डायरेक्शन. So there will be a new branch to this pomegranate. ठीक है, इस डायरेक्शन में हम लगा सकते हैं. ठीक है. सो ये वाला फर्स्ट, इसके टाइप से एयर लेयरिंग, ग्राउंड लेयरिंग एंड माउंट लेयरिंग. सो आउट ऑफ दिस विच इज दिस लेयरिंग? एयर लेयरिंग मीन्स नेम रेफर टू वी आर डूइंग लेयरिंग इन द एयर, फ्री लेयर. ओके, मदर प्लांट जहां पे डिटैच करते हैं वहां पे अटैच होगा तभी हम करते हैं. देन ग्राउंड लेयरिंग मीन्स एट द लेयर, एट द लेवल ऑफ ग्राउंड. ठीक है. In this method, branches of plant is near to the ground, chosen to the ring bark, and then it is diameter removed just below the bud branch, then bended to buried. इसमें क्या होता है देखो, normally let's say this is the your gawa. You know gawa means what? So out of that we are taking one branch. Okay, and this is a one branch. We are removing cover at this point and then burying this plant into the soil. What will happen after that? After burying into the moist soil, there will be roots. So after 1 month, we will remove this branch from the soil, then cut at this point and develop a new plant. This is called as ground layering. And what is the mound layering? Same like this. These are the 10 branches. Okay, we are removing here small bark here, applying sphagnum moss and covering all these branches with the help of soil. So after some time what will happen? All these branches will have roots. Then we will normally cut in a wet situation and propagate. It's called as mound. Okay. In ground, branches are bended. Here all branches are covered in a soil, and in that air layering, roots are in the air. ठीक है. ये वाली मेथड्स बेटा लेयरिंग के अलग अलग. ठीक है. Branches bended and buried into soil, when still attached to the mother plant. यहाँ पे क्या होती है, अटैच होती है, रिमूव नहीं करते, ठीक है. So soil is regularly watered to keep the moist. Within few weeks roots are formed, new plant separated from the mother plant branch, ठीक है. The next type of layering is the mound layering. In this method head back either in February or in the July, new sprouts come out, जो नए sprout आ जाते हैं ना branches के. What we are doing, October, depend upon plant to plant, and a bark is removed. These shoots are then covered with the moist soils, mostly bark remove करने के बाद. Then these rooted stools or stalking are separated during the rainy season. This method is known as stool layering and used for propagation of like a guava or एप्पल रूट स्टॉक, दोनों के लिए काम करता है ये, ठीक है. नॉट फॉर एप्पल, इट इज फॉर एप्पल root stock propagation, ठीक है. Then budding, what happen in the budding? Let's say this is a your mango, okay, plant. So what they are doing V shape cut here to the branch and adding fresh bud. This is the fresh bud having the same size, then inserting into this scion and rootstock, and they are in packaging. ये हो गया आपका budding. Then tea budding में क्या होता है बेटा? Let's say this is a main mango plant. They are doing this type of cut and this type of cut. What happened after doing this type of T shape cut? They are just removing the bark, and let's say this is another bud from another plant, and they are patching this bud here, okay, like this, and then packing with the help of plastic. So what will happen? This bud will be developed into the branch. After development, they are cutting the shoot. It's called as tea budding. Patch budding is just like patch, side budding बोलते हैं, ऐसे patch निकाल देते हैं bark का and applying another bird's patch here. Okay. Then cheap budding is like this one. या तो ऐसे कर देते, देखो, this is a original plant, notch बना देते ऐसे notch, okay, in a branch, and they are inserting here another scion, this branch here, okay, and then they are packaging it. It's called as ये वाला notch का chip budding. ये common method से बेटा budding की, means only one bud is inserted in a rootstock. This method is very easy and fast. This method saves birdwood and compared to the grafting. Grafting में बहुत ज्यादा overall branch लगा देते, but here only bud, ठीक है. As soon as the bark starts stripping both on the stalk and scion, considered to be a optimum time for the budding. This shows that cambium of the tissue responsible for the union is active. This method is generally employed during the spring and rainy season, not in a dry season में practice नहीं करते बेटा हम इसकी. Then grafting. Grafts are the plant obtained by fusing part of one tree with the another tree, है ना. उसकी टर्म, क्लेव ग्राफ्टिंग, अप्रोच ग्राफ्टिंग, साइड ग्राफ्टिंग, विनर ग्राफ्टिंग, इसके टाइप्स है. बट वन ग्राफ्टिंग आई विल टीच यू. लेट्स से दिस इज अ वन प्लांट ऑफ मैंगो. ये पॉट है बस, प्लांट नहीं. दिस इज अ one plant. It has a very small mangoes, okay, but very good strong root system. This is another plant of mango. It has a very good mangoes, but root system is very weak. So what will happen in future? This plant may get collapse, but it has a very good mangoes. This has a very strong root system, but mangoes are not good. So what we will do? We will remove the bark only at this side, okay, and approach यहाँ पे grafting कर देंगे हम. What will happen after 6 months? Okay, let's say this is a part A, this is a part B, C and D. I have to give 2 cuts. So at which point I will give cut? Here I will give cut at A, then another cut at D. So there will be a strong root system with good mango. This is called as approach grafting. क्लेप ग्राफ्टिंग में ऐसे होता है, पूरी ब्रांच लगा देते हैं, नॉट द बर्ड. ग्राफ्टिंग एंड बर्डिंग इज ऑलमोस्ट सेम. इन बर्डिंग birds are used, in grafting branches are used, but not बिगर ब्रांचेस, स्मॉल ब्रांचेस, ठीक है. टंग ग्राफ्टिंग, विनीर ग्राफ्टिंग है ना. ग्राफ्टिंग इज रिलेटिवली सिंपल टेक्निक एंड इट अवॉइड द रूटिंग प्रॉब्लम. No routing is required, है ना. So it is expensive and not applicable to the mass propagation. Only small correction can be done. Like Chinmay was driving the tractor and there was a problem. So during driving he strike down to the tree. In such condition he can directly take a new branch from the another tree and patch there. ये वाला, ठीक है. So it is to be propagated वाला on root. This involves the removal of the vegetative part of one parent tree scion and attached to the other root पे लगा देते हैं, so that tissues fuse. Heteroplastic grafts belong to the different species while the homoplastic same species. ये grafting करते हैं mostly, belong to the same species. Grafting is commonly done in the pear, peach, plum, almond, mango. Okay, grafting is very famous. In temperate fruit like peach, plum, almond, grafting is done when plants are dormant, while in mango it is done when plants are active. ये वाली कर देते हैं. So grafting is the method of macro or micro propagation. Macro propagation है ना. Propagation through specialized organ like beside seeds हमने देखा था seedling. Other things are also used like rhizomes, suckers, offset, bulbs, combs. Okay, these are also the specialized organ. So we will see the runners. Runners, this type of classification we have also seen in one chapter. He was there, I think आप लोग नहीं थे, in weed science. I think you people was not there. हाँ, वहाँ पे देखो runner. Runner is what? In case of strawberry or some wild plants are there, they are propagating like, let's say this is the original root. They are propagating like this, है ना? Creeping. These are the small root. These are the small root, है ना? So what you are doing? Cut at this point and develop new plant. Okay, and place in the any jar or any pot. ठीक है. Rhizomes वाला runner. Runner is specialized stem developed from the axil of the leaf at the crown of a plant. It grows horizontally along the ground and forms new plant at one of the nodes. Strawberry जैसा इसमें होता है. Runner production is favored by long day, high temperature. Then daughter plants are separated and used as a new planting material. कट करने वाला नया. Then suckers. ठीक है. Suckers are mostly used in which plant? Banana. Okay, or similar plants mostly. So in other words, sucker is a shoot arises of the plant below the ground. These root shoots are separated from the mother plant. Mostly suckers use होते हैं. Adventitious root होती है उसकी. So capacity of plant to form sucker varies from plant to plant, variety to variety, even climate depend. Sometimes 2 to 3 suckers are there. Sometimes one sucker is there. Sometimes no sucker will be there. Depend upon that. Root sucker. Root suckers can be used for planting purpose. Example, pomegranate. Root sucker is there. Kokum, Selene, Anjan, Shisham, Nimbara, Pangra. Then Erythrona. The root suckers are famous. Then layers, grafted plants or budded plants can be used for preparing the planting material. We have already seen the grafting layering वाला है ना, plantation वाला. Straight tongue use होती है. Planting by the root cutting, sandalwood and Pangra. This is the repetition. Planting by root sucker. Pala, Anjan, pomegranate है ना, सीसम, निम्बारा. Slips. What is the slips? देखो यहाँ पे can you identify this fruit? Which is this fruit? This is the pineapple. So in pineapple, there are some new growths are also there at the end. New plant pineapple trees are there. So this new growth at the base, you can easily separate and develop new pineapple. Separate a new pineapple. This is called as slips. These are the like your suckers, but called as the slips. Slips are the shoot just arising below the crown of or but above the ground. Pineapple is a commercially propagated through method of slip propagation. ये वाला mostly. Then important practices in the forest plant. कुछ practices होती we will see this. Coping. Individual trees are cut at base between 15 to 75 सेंटीमीटर, ठीक है, above the ground. What happen? Copying का मतलब क्या होता है? Let's say this is a bigger tree. Okay. So how we are doing? This is a cutting at what height? 15 to 75 सेंटीमीटर, ठीक है. एंड न्यू शूट डेवलप फॉर्म्स द स्टम्प. हमने देखा था ना स्टम्प वाला. न्यू शूट्स आर डेवलप एट द बेस साइड से. इट इज कॉल्ड एज stumps. Okay. When the sprout develop, it is grown है ना for the pole production, है ना. Only 2 to 3 sprouts are need to allow grow according to the fuel requirement, है ना. Sometime for construction purpose. If there are 10 sprout, what will happen? There will not be a proper growth. So that's why they are keeping only 2 to 3 sprout. ठीक है, mostly. It is called as the copying. Subabul, Acacia nilotica. This copying is done. Copying is done only for what purpose? Production of stumps or what? Pole production. Pole for previously used for the building construction. Okay. Then polarity. In this system, what happen? All branches, including the top of the tree, is removed. Height approximately 2 to 3 meters. Let's say this is the tree. So what they are doing? They are removing the top also and branches also, not allowing any branch to grow. Only girth of this tree is allowed to increase every year. Okay, so there will be so many such trees without any top or without any branches, without any top or without any branches. These trees acts as a fence. इसी को वायर लगा देंगे. This acts as a fence. It is called as polarity. Above the ground level, the main stem continue to increase the diameter, not the height, because we are cutting the height. ठीक है. The main stem can be cut for the poles, and advantage is that new shoots are high enough to the ground to prevent them from bearing browse. इस पे हम क्या करते हैं? Mostly branches are cutting, so it will not be browsed by any animal. ठीक है. This can also be used for the management of living fence, है ना. Otherwise, what is the another option? Either do wood or any cement poles or iron poles. But the living poles strong also, not fear of getting burning down, but woods may get burned down. ये वाला, ठीक है. Aza directa indica, Eucalyptus, Glycidia sepium, then Cassia semia. This is used in polarity. ठीक है. You got the concept of copying, polarity. They may ask you for 2 marks. Explain the terms. Okay. Then looping. When wood is mainly used for the fuel and leaves and fodder, this system of removing most of the branches is called as looping बोलते हैं. Every season they are removing the branches either for the fuel or fodder. It is called as looping. Then pruning. Pruning we have seen in horticulture. What mean by pruning? Removal of dead, diseased branches for giving a little bit, sanitizing the tree that will allow more sunlight. मैंने आपको pruning के types बताए थे, किसको याद है? Horticulture. Yes, बताओ. Aryan, I was absent. Sagar, I was physically absent. Types of pruning. Types of training and modified. These are types of. And what of pruning? Very good. Okay, the same thing happen here. Thinning out, bench cut और दूसरा एक कट था, है ना, like that. These are the types of pruning. It means that you people didn't prepare for the unit number 13 test, which is just after 18 hours from now. ठीक है, चलो अच्छे से रिवाइज करो. This system of pruning or removing the smaller branches called as pruning. सुबाबुल ग्रिसिडिया में होता है. Thinning is method of practice maintaining the desirable tree, removing the poor and diseased branches, thereby reducing the competition light. ये पूरी प्रैक्टिस होती है फॉरेस्ट प्लांट पे. ठीक है. मोस्टली इन नेचुरल फॉरेस्ट नहीं होता, बट गार्डन में होते हैं ना जो प्लांट, दे आर रिमूविंग सच ब्रांचेस. नेक्स्ट देखो टिश्यू कल्चर इन द फॉरेस्ट प्रोपोगेशन और माइक्रो प्रोपोगेशन. एक्चुअली वी हैव ऑलरेडी कवर दिस इन आवर प्लांट बिल्डिंग में कवर किया था. देखो हमने टिश्यू कल्चर, सेम थिंग इज हैपन हियर, नथिंग इज न्यू. ओके, कैन यू टेल मी द स्टेप्स in the tissue culture we have already seen in the plant breeding? Yes, Ramu. Very good. Taking tissue, then sterilizing it, then keeping that tissue on the medium, MS medium, then then rooting medium, then shooting medium, then hardening, and then placing in the feed. Same thing happen here. Tissue culture as a alternative of vegetative propagation है ना, like your conventional rooting cutting से अच्छा है. This is particularly viable in case of difficult to root जो species है, where the seeds are not viable, rooting is difficult, air layering is not possible. In such condition there is another option called as टिश्यू कल्चर है ना मोस्टली. सो पाम वाला ट्री है, देखो पाम विच कैन नाइदर बी रूटेड एंड नॉर ग्राफ्टेड बिकॉज ऑफ लैक ऑफ कैम्बियम एंड सीड प्रोडक्शन इज वेरी लेस. So in such condition, what is option available to us in case of mass production? Tissue culture, correct. So recently genetically uniform palms है ना have been produced by tissue culture. Attempt are being made in same direction with the coconut palm also है ना, मोस्टली इसका यूज हो रहा है. वेजिटेटिव प्रोपोगेशन थ्रू टिश्यू कल्चर इज कॉल्ड एज माइक्रो प्रोपोगेशन बिकॉज ऑफ स्मॉल क्वांटिटीज ऑफ स्टार्टिंग मटेरियल इज यूज व्हिच इज माइक्रो. एट सेल लेवल इट इज वर्किंग है ना. So however the seedling from the tissue cultures are relatively more expensive than those produced by the vegetative cuttings या तो सीड ये ज्यादा एक्सपेंसिव है. ठीक है मोस्टली. Therefore it is applied only to the high value species like palm, jatropha, teak, bamboo. Okay, sometime rubber जो हाई वैल्यू के लिए होता है. नॉर्मली नीम का कोई टिश्यू कल्चर नहीं करेगा. व्हाई? बिकॉज नीम कैन बी इजीली प्रोपोगेटेड विद द हेल्प ऑफ सीड. सो व्हाई वी शुड गो इन टिश्यू कल्चर एंड लाइक do that much efforts for low value species like eucalyptus rooted crop है ना, कॉपी शूट कटिंग आर स्टिल यूज कमर्शियली, आराम से होता है. सो नो नीड टू गो फॉर द टिश्यू कल्चर. प्लांट रेज फ्रॉम टिश्यू कल्चर रिक्वायर लॉन्गर हार्डनिंग पीरियड है ना, बिकम फिट फॉर द ट्रांसप्लांटिंग स्पेशली हार्श फॉरेस्ट इन्वायरमेंट. genetic instability of callus culture is another drawback. There can be problem at the callus level, so there will be a variation that is called as which type of variation बता सकते हो आप मुझे? सोमैटिक सोमाक्लोनल वेरिएशन कैन बी देयर है ना, ये वाला. सो टिश्यू कल्चर जर्म प्लाज्म विच कंस्टिट्यूट द इंपॉर्टेंट कंपोनेंट्स टेम्परेट है ना, अबोरियल फॉरेस्ट आप इसको स्टोर कर सकते हो. ठीक है मोस्टली ये मेथड से है ना. माइक्रो प्रोपोगेशन आर प्रीफर्ड ओवर द कन्वेंशनल. व्हाई? बिकॉज स्मॉल अमाउंट ऑफ टिश्यू रिक्वायर्ड है ना, रेजिस्टेंट फॉर मेनी स्पेसीज. डिसीज वाला कर सकते हो. इफ यू वांट टू डू जीएम क्रॉप देन लाइक जीएम रबर, आपके नोट्स में दिया है देखो जीएम रबर कहाँ होगा, आई थिंक कल के इसमें था जीएम रबर वाज देयर. सो इफ यू वांट टू डेवलप जीएम रबर देन आफ्टर इंसर्शन ऑफ जीन व्हाट यू हैव टू डू द टिश्यू कल्चर ओनली. ठीक है. सो इंट्रोडक्शन ऑफ डिसीज कैन बी सॉल्व्ड इन अ क्वारंटाइन. If there is any infestation of whole plant by viral disease, you can take which plant part of the tree, which is viral free part of a tree, meristem है ना. So you can take meristem and then go ahead with the tissue culture, so you can develop whole new population without that virus है ना. So stock can be quickly proliferated into in vitro, not season dependent, no need for the season. We have seen that budding grafting mostly done in a winter or spring season, but tissue culture can be done in any season because it is a under control condition, correct. So valuable germplasm can be stored for long time. टिश्यू कल्चर से होगा. एप्लीकेशन ऑफ माइक्रो प्रोपोगेशन देखो हॉर्टिकल्चर एंड फॉरेस्ट्री में रीजनरेशन ऑफ प्लांटलेट इन कल्चर प्लांट सेल टिश्यू है ना, हैविंग हाई इकोनॉमिक वैल्यू. मेनी स्टडीज एम दैट लार्ज स्केल माइक्रो प्रोपोगेशन ऑफ इंपॉर्टेंट ट्रीज लाइक फ्यूल पल्प टिम्बर वाले हम कर सकते हैं. So hence clonal forestry horticultural is gaining increasing recognition, alternative for the tree improvement. Strategies for transferring culture plant in vitro field condition is based on relatively higher price horticultural species rather than the agriculture and forestry. क्योंकि क्या होता है ये horticulture के ऑलरेडी आपको ज्यादा प्राइस मिलती है मैंगो की. We are not doing the tissue culture of cotton plant. ठीक है. High value tissue culture yield is also high, economic gain is also high. That's why they are doing it. एडवांटेज क्या है बेटा माइक्रो प्रोपोगेशन के? ग्रेटर आउटपुट, इकोनॉमी ऑफ टाइम एंड स्पेस. इन अ स्मॉल स्पेस यू कैन डेवलप थाउजेंड्स ऑफ प्लांट टिश्यू कल्चर से. फ्रीडम फ्रॉम द सीजनल कंस्टेंट. व्हाट इट मींस? मीनिंग क्या है इसका रामू? यू कैन ग्रो एट एनी सीजन. ठीक है. मल्टीप्लीकेशन अंडर द डिसीज फ्री कंडीशन पॉसिबल है. This is just like your conclusion है ना. Traditional method of propagation are inadequate to meet the planting material because nowadays each and everyone want to plant the tree on their birthdays है ना, or someone's birthdays, but who will produce the trees? Trees are now scarce and demand is very high. So what is the method available to us? That is a टिश्यू कल्चर मेथड है ना. क्लोनिंग ऑफ सुपीरियर इंडिविजुअल इज पॉसिबल. कल्चरिंग शूट मेरिस्टेम है ना. देन तो डिसीज फ्री प्लांट आ जाएंगे, पैथोजन फ्री हो गए है ना. रूटीन माइक्रो प्रोपगेशन को मेंटेन कर सकते हो. So in these days tissue culture has been successfully employed for multiplication of orchid, many other commercial plant है ना. Developed countries tissue culture is routine method of multiplication, while in developing it is now gaining ground. एक्सपोर्ट भी कर सकते हो आप मोस्टली. तो डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ बायोटेक्नोलॉजी उसका एक टेरी है देखो, टाटा एनर्जी रिसर्च इंस्टीट्यूट. इसका नाम अब क्या हो गया है? द गवर्नमेंट ने एक्वायर कर लिया उसको, टाटा को. ठीक है. दैट्स व्हाई इट इज अ टेरी नाम रहा लेकिन द कर दिया. एनसीएल यूनिवर्सिटी पुणे. ठीक है. दे आर वर्किंग फॉर द टिश्यू कल्चर ऑफ फॉरेस्ट प्लांट. दे आर डेवलपिंग द मेथड्स. This is just like a conclusion type आप पढ़ लेना. Nothing is new in this. So this is what. So today what we have seen, propagation of forest plant. There are two important methods, sexual and asexual. So asexual में there are types, macro and micro. ठीक है. मैक्रो में कौन सी है बताओ? कटिंग, लेयरिंग, ग्राफ्टिंग एंड माइक्रो सेम. एंड सम स्पेशलाइज्ड पार्ट बताओ सागर. Specialized parts are used in the macro propagation like runners, suckers, sleeves, stumps. Okay, all these things are there. So this is the simple one. So we have finished this propagation of forest plant. So that's it for today. You can leave the class.